Video highlights from Dirt Track Speedway, presented by Fast Chefs by Actual Exchange. They're not just fast, they're first. FastChefs.com. Well, good evening, everybody. It is Bucky Doren, ready for another edition of Dirt Track Speedway. On the show, usually try to have kind of a live racing feel to it. So for tonight's action, the theme of it tonight is weather's moving in. Now, the biggest reason why is the state of Iowa. If you're not familiar with that, if you're watching from outside the state, fireworks are legal now, and it is a Fireworks Palooza next to the Doren Man Sports Bar and Grill, where we host this show. And Trip the dog Doren is going a little crazy, so I'm expecting him to be running around in the background. All the Dirt Track Speedway, it is presented by Fast Chefs by Actual Exchange, and thank you to Pat Fagan for jumping on here for 8 episodes, and I appreciate that. Also, if you're not familiar with the show, it's a show about the lifestyle of dirt track racing. Yeah, we'll talk about some results, and we'll see some highlights. Actually, going to talk a little bit about both of those tonight, but it's more about the things that make the sport tick, and more about the things that that kind of push the sport and drive the sport, or actually make you angry about the sport. But anyway, coming up on tonight's show, our heat races are going to be a memorable moment, or at least a few of them anyway. Another tradition continued. The A-Main conversation. Own it. I'm going to own it. Sometimes you have to. And finally, with Victory Lane tonight, don't take if allergic. That and more on this edition of Dirt Track Speedway, Episode 10, July 3rd. So on our opening night, I try to describe heat races. Are going to be taking a look at some of the memorable things or things that I saw over the weekend. And one of the things that took place is one of my favorite events out of the year. It might not be the biggest car count, but at least in my racing world, it's one of my favorite events. And all of us have those. No matter where you're at in the country, you have favorite events. And no matter what happens, it's always going to be one of those events that you try to go to. The Hogan Memorial had its 23rd running, and ever since I moved up here and got pretty embedded in the dirt track racing world here in eastern and central Iowa and northeast Iowa, the Hogan Memorial has been one of those events, and it had the 23rd running of it. And we'll talk a little bit more about the Sport Mod A-Main when we have my section where I own it. But congratulations, a big kudos to the Hogan family and everyone that took time to be a part of it. I didn't bring it with me, but there was a whole sheet of paper that had all the different position sponsors, lap money sponsors, contingency sponsors, and everyone stepping up to have a great memorial honoring Dick and Janet Hogan. So congratulations to everyone who was who partook in that, but also thank you to everyone that is involved with the Hogan family that does that. And it was a very memorable one. I saw on Positivity Racing, I got to start reading just a little bit of it. Jeff Brogue posted there about how the event lived up to its billing. Here's an example. Go check it out, positivelyracing.com. But here's an example here. The top 5 from the modified feature that took place on Sunday night. Hunter Marriott started 15th. He was the winner. In second was Tyler Drosty, came from 13th. The closest to the front was Richie Gustin Jr. G-Money started 9th. Joel Russ started 11th. And Caden Carter from 21st to crack the top 5 after the 50 laps. So congratulations to those 5 as well. Another memorable moment was also when we did the Fast Chefs Invitational last week. I want to thank everyone and all the comments about it. Daniel Waters, let it go. There's no black flag. If you missed it, go check out our Facebook page, Dirt Track Speedway, and find the race movie, the stop motion movie there, and you'll understand what that. Anyway, Daniel, thanks for having some fun with it, though. But this is Shane Ebaugh and the missus, Sandra. She's the one that nominated him, that got him into the race, and on Sunday came down and presented them with their gift certificate for the free drive shaft, thanks to Pat Fagan and Axle Exchange. So thank you, guys. Thank you also to the Ebaugh family. They were great to talk to and hang out with, as always. But congratulations on the win. So my main conversation tonight, sometimes you just got to own it. Sometimes drivers, I tell drivers, if you make a boneheaded move, just own it. Don't try to blame it on somebody else. Or if you jinx something, fans, own it. The announcer's curse. So at the beginning of the season, I made a big deal about the Sport Mods, the Northern Sport Mods, which was put on a great show at the end of the year last year. We even wrote a nice article about them on our websites on the radio stations I work at, K985.com, talking about the Sport Mods and the talent that is in there, and they put on a great show. Sometimes I said it's feast or famine, but at the end of the last year it was more feast than famine. Well, it's been an awful lot of famine, so maybe I jinxed it. At least in eastern Iowa, a lot of the videos I've seen, and plus also the ones that I see, it's sometimes the track, but I just think it's the drivers being over-aggressive or too aggressive, or the weather didn't cooperate and gave a rough track. But anyway, the point is I jinxed them. and I was about to give up hope that maybe I jinxed them for the whole year. And then I mentioned during the heat races, talking about the Hogan Memorial, then this race took place on Sunday night at the Benton County Speedway. It's the final set of laps for the these are about the last 5 laps, I think, or so at the Benton County Speedway during the Hogan Memorial. Up front, Dan Chapman, and also the blue car there, that is Packard. The 22 is Petrozelka, and the back eventually getting up there is the Sam Wieben car, and also Jake McBurney. And these guys put on a great show in the closing laps. I wanted to, IMCA TV let me use this. Thank you to IMCA TV, and thank you for letting me be a part of that last night. And you can check out more about IMCA TV's package to watch races on a subscription basis, not a pay-per-event basis. But anyway, you can see these 4 cars all duking it out. Eventually it gets broke down to 3 cars, and I have yet to see one of them touch. It was probably the best feature of the night, if you ask me, and probably one of the top 5 for me this year for this. And there's Chapman that is in the lead, sliding up the hill there. That's Wieben. And then there's also Joe Dosicle that got into the mix late. That's the black car, the 82. That is McBurney, as they are racing around. I believe this might be the checkered flag lap. Nope, this, I believe, here. Chapman slides up the hill. Still, you see McBurney gets right there, but doesn't even crinkle the fender or the quarter panel back there as well. Wieben going to try to go low, and Chapman goes upstairs, gets a little bit on the hook. McBurney still stays out of him, and along the way probably lost his chance at getting to the victory, but congratulations. At least someone showed me that maybe I was partially right. Trip the Dog Doren running around in the background here, so apparently the fireworks that hopefully you guys don't hear, I hear them going off like crazy around here. Thank you, Iowa. I appreciate that, for enjoying your freedoms. And I mentioned this. I guess I got 2 thoughts I wanted to bring up here during my victory lane speech. And as you can tell, I'm not a big fan of it at the house, but I'm not going to complain about it. I did write a story about this also on our website at k985.com, the radio station I work at anyway, that yes, I think it's annoying, and yes, there's times that I'm in bed at 9:30 and the fireworks have been going off, but I'm not going to complain about it. And here's why. I have hobbies and things that I like to do and be a part of that aren't necessarily quiet, i.e. going to races. And I'm sure there's plenty of people that live around a racetrack that are quite annoyed every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night at a track that I'm at, having to endure it. And I don't hear them complaining all that much. So, although I'm not a big fan of it, I'll just let it ride. It's just the way it works. Have some fun with it, and hopefully next year won't be as crazy, but I'm sure it will be tonight and also tomorrow night. All right, so my main conversation that I wanted to have tonight for my victory lane speech was, don't take if allergic. Now, I don't watch a lot of TV, I'll be honest with you, but when I do, there always seems to be some sort of prescription drug commercial on there. And one of the things that I've been starting to hear lately, normally, don't take if you're allergic to aspirin, don't take, and don't take if you're allergic to this element or this product, you know. But finally, it says, brand X medicine said, don't take if you're allergic to brand X. And I'm like, well, how lazy or dumb do we have to be in this world to actually have that disclaimer that says, if you're allergic to this particular product, brand X, don't take it. Then this weekend, I was taking a look at Facebook, and I saw a couple of flyers, I think 3 of them, different ones, where they had the date of the event, the time of the event, and also the cost of the event. And yet somebody in the comment section would go, well, how much does it cost to get in? You ripping me off? Well, it's on the flyer. Well, what time do you start? Again, it's on the flyer. So I guess my problem is maybe we're allergic to work. We don't want to take the time to actually spend a minute or so to actually look at things. I always talk about getting on the drivers and getting on the promoters about stuff. It's time to get on the fans a little bit. Spend 30 seconds and do a little bit of work. Take a look. Usually the information is right in front of you. Hopefully, you aren't allergic to doing that. That's it for tonight. Fireworks are going crazy. Dogs starting to whine. So I'm going to just cut things short tonight. Thanks for joining me tonight with Dirt Track Speedway.